The city of Seattle values animal life as much as it does human. However, that doesn't mean there aren't different ways people go about it. Seattle is home to a multitude of shelters, all which handle the animals in their care in unique ways. The save rate of a shelter is the percentage of animals that leave the shelter alive, no matter what their behavior or health status.
Seattle Humane Shelter, which adopted out 6,575 animals in 2018, is a nonprofit organization separate from city and state governments, funded primarily by donation. The shelter has a 98.4% save rate, and 80% of its funds go towards the rehabilitation and rehoming of animals. The services of Seattle Humane Society include neutering, free and circumstances litters set up for adoption, and microchipping with small fees, though the shelter does not offer official licensing for the county. Programs oriented towards pet owners of low-income households propose financial relief through food banks and clinical aid for HIV or AIDS. Seattle Humane as well prioritizes the well-being of the community with a visiting pet program that allows certified pets to visit senior homes, those with disabilities, and healthcare facilities for emotional support. Visiting Pet Friends is a more education-focused that, according to the website, teaches safety with animals, responsibility with pet ownership, and the importance of animal shelters, with as well a pet loss program meant for offering community and grief support in a safe environment.
The Seattle Animal Shelter is the official shelter of the city. With a save rate of 93%, they adopted out 1,236 animals in 2017. It is funded primarily by a nonprofit organization called the Seattle Animal Shelter Foundation, which provides the majority of the operating funds. Services the Seattle Animal Shelter offers, aside from adopting out eligible animals, include spaying and neutering animals not only at their shelter, offering the surgery by appointment. They also have a program for owners who may not be able to afford the procedure, called the Pet Population Control Fund. In addition to this, they offer online and in-person pet licensing. Another facet of the shelter is their animal control program. It allows patrons to make formal complaints, and according to the Seattle Animal Shelter's website, is for complaints or questions that are not time sensitive and do not involve threats to public safety.
The Regional Animal Services of King County, or the RASKC, is the official shelter of King County, with an 88% save rate as of 2015. While the Seattle Humane Shelter and the Seattle Animal Shelter define themselves as no-kill shelters, RASKC gives no clear indication, though in 2018 the shelter did euthanize 371 animals without obvious reason. Run and managed by the county, it's recently worked to change the way it runs, raising their save rate by nearly 20% since 2006.
The RASKC, as the main animal resource program for King County, offers a variety of services that other, smaller, city-focused animal shelters could not manage. In addition to adopting out pets, the shelter offers pet licensing and affordable opportunities to spay and neuter pets. They also have a lost and found pet program, devoted to either managing found pets or returning lost pets that may have ended up at the RASKC. They also function as the emergency response animal control, managing animals that could be threats to public safety as well as animal abuse or injury. Shelters are an important part of our community, and as the island provides few options for animal adoption, the access to good shelters is relevant for many immerse-around families and teenagers.
What's your opinion on kill shelters?
I think that what they do isn't okay. It's unjust, and that why are animals' lives worth less than humans' lives, that they get killed for just because there isn't enough room or there's people that can't take
What
them.
you've seen, do you think Seattle animal shelters do a good job of caring for animals?
I think that there's some that are better than others, so seeing them, that I just feel bad when these animals, they live in almost office environments where they try to make it as homey as they can, as comfortable as they can for the animals, but it's still going to be like it's an office structure, it's business. They're not going to have that home that other animals get to experience, So I think that some take care of them, some don't, where they keep them in cages, they keep them in kennels, and they give them toys, they give them blankets, but that's not an enjoyable life for them. What's their entertainment? What's their joy of having like a person to, connect to?
What services do you think shelters should offer?
I feel like they should make their spaces more homey for animals, especially, spaces that are I think that having volunteers, because I know many people that would volunteer to like come in 2 days a week and just spend an hour with the animals and just interact with them, and like being able to like give them that stimulation that they may get from a human, or just getting to enjoy that instead of spending all their days in, a kennel or a cage, or just lounging around, which is like, what animals do, but they don't have that same connection, like I was saying, connection to a human, connection to their owner that a lot of animals do have.
How do you think animals should be treated in shelters?
I think that they should make them as close to a home as they can. So if that means, having like a spot designated for like 3 cats and no more, like a space that's, specific to them and they don't have to be overcrowded, and that means like, I don't think that cages and kennels, that's not really, they spend their life in a kennel waiting to be adopted. They spend their life in a cage, and as they grow older and they don't get adopted, the chances of them being adopted just gets lower and lower. And like, I think that, that they should make it as comfortable for them as possible, especially for the old cats or the old dogs that won't get adopted, that they have a lower chance of being adopted, making their last few years as enjoyable as possible, or just making it as close to an adopted home as possible, so if they get adopted, it makes the transition easier.
What is your opinion on kill shelters?
I think that at the moment in today's society, they're slightly inhumane.
Why are they inhumane?
I think they don't treat the animals with the necessities they need, and I think that we should take some of the basic human necessities and refer them to animal necessities.
What shelters have you been to?
Seattle Humane Society.
What services do you think shelters should offer?
I think that they should at least have, safe drinking water, enough space for exercise, food, definitely, maybe vaccines.
How do you think animals should be treated at shelters?
Care and support, and the environmental things that they need to survive.
Do you think Seattle Animal Shelters, or in this case, Seattle Humane Shelter, does a good job of caring for animals?
I think that there's definitely things that can be improved upon.
Like what?
I think that some parts of how they keep the animals are inhumane. I think that,
What services do you think animal shelters should offer?
I think that there should at least be a program where, visitors or volunteers can come in and at least play with the animals or help them, cope with whatever trauma they've gone through.
How should their active needs be met?
I think that maybe going off of my idea earlier about the volunteers, maybe they could give them walks, or at least have enough space in their cage so that they could, get the exercise that they need, because I think there needs to be a balance with too much, being too overweight and being too skinny with.
Okay. These students offer insight about Islanders' view on the animals they own and adopt.
On the island especially, animals are often as much of a part of a family as you or I, so the places that take care of them are especially important. Seattle has shown its dedication to animal welfare, and Mercer Island is an important part of Seattle culture, as we as a community care for animals.
Okay.